and gentlemen, welcome live to 3 Wide Racing Television. I am Peter Short, and tonight we got SimPossible Racing League action here from the Homestead-Miami Speedway. The Cup cars will be going around this 1.5 mile variably banked racetrack for what will be a spectacular show. These SimPossible boys always put on a spectacle here. Joining me in the booth here tonight, Greg Rentz and Nicholas Rees. And guys, this is going to be a great show. We have seen the SimPossible drivers put on spectacular shows. As I said, 3 wide, final lap, photo finishes here. Greg, what are you expecting to see tonight?
Expecting more of the same, Peter. We have seen these guys put on great races over not just this season so far, but last season as well. And with the track as racy as Homestead Raceway, as we see it every year, well, it was the home of the Cup Series finale, but not so much anymore. But sorry, Carlos, I know you're not too happy about your home track losing the championship date, but we've seen it at this track time and time again. This produces some of the best racing in the world for a 1.5 mile, and a very unique 1.5 mile. This is the only true oval 1.5 mile on the circuit, so very unique. It's a one-of-a-kind facility, and these guys are going to put on a heck of a show here for 120 laps, Peter.
Absolutely. Currently, we are in the practice session, just about 2 minutes left in that. Currently, Tommy Gossett, who went to Victory Lane on Monday night here on 3 Wide Racing Television, and he is atop the leaderboard with a 31.599 second lap, but you don't have to look too far behind him to find the number 14 of AJ Digby, Kyle Zimmer, Tanner Sharp, and Doug McCollum, your top 5. But Nicholas, long race here tonight, 120 laps, 180 miles. What do you think the different strategies are going to be here tonight?
Well, I can expect many different strategies. We all can, and one of the strategies here, and I'm gonna first come in with pit strategies here. Now we got to remember that these drivers have 2 fast repairs in this race, and when do you use it? If you get in a wreck early, I'm sure that you may want to save it. I mean, of course you got to. So, what do you do, Peter?
Well, that's the big question. Do you use it early or not? We have seen some long green flag runs recently here in the SimPossible Racing League, and some of those have burn drivers if they don't elect to use them early. But we will have to wait and see. I'm sure it will be on a case-by-case basis. Just how much damage do you have? How early is it? But really, we also have to be, we have to be mindful of the fact that there's going to be a lot of pit stops here tonight. There's going to be a lot of fuel taken on by these cars, and I'm sure, with the reduced fuel tank that these cars have, that pitting is just going to be oh so important here tonight. Getting on pit road. This is not an easy pit road to get onto, folks. It is very tricky to woe these cars from 170 miles an hour to get down to the pit lane speed here. And these drivers will have to do it multiple times tonight, probably under green flag conditions, because of the smaller fuel tanks that they run here in the SimPossible Racing League. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, because the race can be won or lost getting to this pit road. But the practice session has now come to a close. Checkered flag has been thrown on that, and now we are in qualifying. It's going to be a 5-minute qualifying session. Let's see if we can ride on board with one of these drivers here as they roll their way around this 1.5-mile racetrack. Here we go, on board with the number 9 machine of Tim Masters, and let's just talk you through a lap of this racetrack. Down on the apron here, very tricky to get off pit road, very easy to spin your tires down there just because it's so flat, and you have to watch out for that grass on the exit. So if that comes into play when we have green flag pit stops, will be interesting to watch. Now we have Masters going through turn number 3 and 4 here to get his first time lap. This racetrack is variably banked. That means the top side of the racetrack has more banking than the bottom side of the racetrack. Some people call that progressively banked. And you see Tim going up the racetrack to use that additional banking. You can see that groove down there towards the bottom where there's a little bit more rubber. We've seen a lot of drivers using about 1 lane up from the bottom. It's a fast way around the racetrack. Tim Masters now dives it down to the white line on entry into turn number 3. You got to be careful here, folks, because turn number 4 is very tricky. For whatever reason, turn number 1 and 2 and turn number 3 and 4 race very, very different. Very easy to get the car to wash up coming out of turn number 4, get the power down a little bit too early in between turn number 3 and 4 and end up hitting the outside wall. I'm sure we'll see that here tonight. You see times starting to trickle in. There's the number 32 of Billy Wise. But Greg, we got the point standings here, and we're going to see if we can bring up those point standings. And Greg, it's been pretty interesting in the points recently.
It has. I haven't really been able to keep a lot on SimPossible this year, but looking at the points, you can tell it's been very competitive. We got Kyle Zimmer up in the points lead with Billy Wise just 17 points back. 2 points back of him is Tanner Sharp. Top 5 rounded out by Fernando Matos and Eddie Hawks. Just 29 points apart with 3 different drivers, Zimmer, Sharp, and Hawks, getting wins so far this season, Peter. And from 6th on down, we got Tom Johnson, Nate Catilla, Tim Masters, and a tie for 9th between Alan Capers and AJ Digby with 2 wins on the year for Digby in the 14. So very, very competitive season so far here rolling into Homestead-Miami.
Yeah, AJ Digby down there in 9th, unfortunately, wasn't able to make last week's race. He had an NCAA track meet that ended up actually, I believe, getting canceled, unfortunately, about halfway through. So he wasn't in last week's race. That's why you find him with 2 checkered flags at the bottom of that table. But it was Tanner Sharp getting the win last week at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Great race. Make sure you go back and look and see that race after this one, because a lot of green flag action last week, and I'm sure that will be the case again this week. But the qualifying session here is quickly winding down. We just have about a minute and 45 seconds left. And Nicholas, any key points for tonight's race that you want to bring up?
Well, really, I mean, any key points here, 120 laps, and you're going to want to find a good racing groove working together if you're in a pack and stuff like that. And one racing groove that I really like to see drivers go around here, and it's what I see a lot of drivers use. They run near the high line on the straightaways, and some may even go towards the high outside wall in the turns, but some may dive down low, and that's what I'm seeing AJ Digby do. And I saw him doing it in the B car race as well, running that racing line.
Yeah, AJ Digby, one of those drivers who can just about make any line work. In fact, one of those drivers is this man right here, the number 3 machine of Tanner Sharp. We're on board with him right down there by that white line through the corners. Currently, Tommy Gossett, the number 8 machine, fastest in practice, backed that practice lap up with a qualifying lap that was about 0.02 of a second faster, and currently the number 8 machine sits top of the board. AJ Digby goes to 2nd. What about Tanner Sharp? He currently sits 5th in that Chevy Camaro. We'll see if he can pick it up on lap number 2. AJ Digby in the number 14 machine actually picked it up about half a tenth on lap number 2, so we'll see if that's what this number 3 machine can do. Got those Goodyear Eagles all warmed up for the 2nd lap, and also got that Chevy Camaro fully wound up. We'll see what he does here coming to the line. If he can pick up, oh man, you see how he pushed up out of turn number 4. That's going to hurt his lap time. Does pick it up, but not enough to move up into the top 3. He's going to stay in 5th position, just about as the checkered flag flies. So he got that one in right at the very end. But folks, we're about set to go green here. Got to give a shout out to some of the people in the chat. We got Aunt Kathy. How's it going, Aunt Kathy? Hopefully everything's going well up where you are. Jennifer Henley as well, saying good luck, drivers. And if you're in the chat joining us here, make yourself heard. If this is your first time joining us for the SimPossible Racing League, this is a league for disabled drivers. All the drivers in tonight's race have a personal disability that they have overcome to race out here on the racetrack. It's some great group of people, and I gotta say, it's awesome to see them overcome whatever they have been faced with in life out here on the racetrack, and it's a great place for them to come race. But folks, let's go down to tonight's starting lineup. Greg, why don't you take it away?
Rolling off on the boat will be Tommy Gossett in the number 8, qualifying in fast time 31.576, with AJ Digby to his outside 31.623. That is your front row. Then we find Kyle Zimmer in the 25 with Nate Catilla coming home in 4th. Rounding out the top 5 is Tanner Sharp with Fernando Matos to his outside. Kevin Paskowicz, I apologize if I butchered that one. I'm sure I did. He's rolling off in 7th, with Chris Roberge in the 98 rolling off 8th. Eddie Hawks and Billy Wise rounding out the top 10, Peter.
Starting from the 11th position, the number 1 machine of Thomas Wise, and to his outside, the number 99 of Johnny Berardi. Last car to take time here in the qualifying session was the number 9 machine of Tim Masters. We have a couple cars behind him who did not qualify, but will be starting tonight's race. 14th position, Tom Johnson. 15th, Kevin Cochran. Mark Dingman will start from the 16th position. Alan Capers, 17th. Doug McCollum, 18th, and rounding out the 19-car grid for this 180-mile race down near Miami Beach, Homestead-Miami Speedway, will be Brian Lowhead in the number 66 machine. But the car is now rolling out onto the racetrack. Pace car rolling around as well. Currently 65 miles an hour for the Ford Mustang pace car. You see half the cars kind of going down the access road, half of them up there already on the banking. It's kind of a unique feature. Mentioned it earlier, very tricky under green flag conditions to get your car spooled up down there on the flat portion of the racetrack. You see them all now joining together as the pace car goes around, but it will be pulling off this time by. Looking forward to this one as you see all the palm trees here at the beautiful Homestead-Miami Speedway on the back stretch. This racetrack reconfigured multiple times. Now it has quite a bit of banking. It was very flat for its first few years. It was even rectangular for a while, kind of a mini Indianapolis Motor Speedway before they rounded out turn number 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but it was even a while before they gave it all this banking. But all that banking has made this place one of the best racetracks in all of NASCAR. The pace car is on pit road, and the green flag is in the air for Tommy Gossett, the number 80 Oreo machine. He's got the loud pedal down, and he's going to clear AJ Digby as they go off into turn number 1, Nicholas.
Yeah, Tommy Gossett, I just do want to point out here very quick, did qualify first in the B-Car Series and did actually finish first in the B-Car Series. We're going to see what he can do here tonight, Peter.
Yeah, very, very quick. On Monday night here on 3-Ride Racing Television in that number 80 machine, currently leading the way over AJ Digby. And folks, you've got to be mindful about the downforce levels on these cars. If you're tucked up underneath the car in front of you, you're going to lose a little bit of downforce on that front nose just because the car in front of you is literally pushing that air out the way. Less air on your nose means less downforce. And so it's going to be interesting to see just how that plays out here in the early going. Got some side-by-side action back here. Billy Wise in the number 32 Magical Butter to the inside of Fernando Matos in the Will Wursler Racing machine. Talked to Will Wursler just a bit ago, jumped up here in the booth, but we have a side-by-side battle for the race lead there, Greg.
Yeah, good battle going on here. 3-car battle as Zimmer joining the fray going into turn number 1. He's peeking outside. He's kind of doing the Kyle Larson thing, but he's not up quite by the wall just yet. But he's really taking the high line. As you see him right there, he gets the run on AJ Digby in the 14, and that allows Goss in the 80 to pull away. They were almost door-to-door going into turn 3. Digby had a little bit of an advantage, and that allowed him to get a good run into 3. But there you see right there through 3 and 4 what being on the high side here at Homestead can do. As you saw, Zimmer was able to get to the door. Don't look now, though, because Catilla and Sharp, among others, they are coming into this picture as well. They are side-by-side for the 4th spot with the 27 right there as well.
Yeah, that number 27 is a great-looking scheme. We're right on board with Kevin Paskowicz right now, and that is, of course, an Alan Kulwicki-inspired scheme. Got Underbird on the front end of that car, of course, akin to the Thunderbird that Kulwicki used to run. There he goes now to the inside of Tanner Sharp, looking back out of the National Guard number 3 machine, running the high side right now. Interesting to see if Sharp can make any inroads on Nate Catilla using that higher groove. You saw him get a huge run coming out of turn number 2 to the inside of Nate. Nate's going to just roll over here and move Tanner Sharp up into the 4th position, Nicholas.
Yeah, and I'm taking a look at this leader still, and it looks like Nicola does have a few connection issues going on, but back to the leaders here. Tommy Gossett holding a decent gap over 2nd and 3rd here as they're working together to get up to Tommy Gossett, your race leader. We're going to see what happens. Still a lot of race tonight. We're going to see what these drivers can do.
Yeah, very long race. We're only 5 laps down on the 120 laps that we have scheduled here tonight. Still side-by-side racing mid-pack. Nate Catilla now under fire from Kevin Paskowicz. They sort things out. Catilla's going to hold on to that spot for now, but mostly single file. A little bit of side-by-side action back there. Oh, really tight there. Tim Masters almost getting into the left rear quarter panel of Alan Capers there down the straightaway, but they fan out going off into turn number 1 and 2. Looks like the 13 machine of Capers gets a really good run through the center of 1 and 2, holds on to that spot, and a little bit of blocking perhaps there. Tim Masters saying, all right, Mr. Cochran, I don't want to let you by. Cochran currently running down in the 13th position, but up at the front, look at Tanner Sharp. I think he's closing in, folks, on your top 3. And Greg, what can you tell me about that number 3 machine?
It's fast. He was up there in practice. He was up floating around the top 3. I was actually kind of surprised he didn't qualify as well as I thought he was going to, as he came home in 4th, but I thought for sure he was going to be making some noise for the front row and just came up a little bit short and actually qualified 5th. I was looking at the wrong number. So qualified just inside the top 5. I thought for sure Sharp was going to be right up there with Digby and Gossett for the front row. Not sure if there was a little bit of an issue on his qualifying lap, which put him in 5th, but it's fast, and I saw in practice he was very quick on the long run, which right about now is when we're starting to reach into that, and we saw it earlier with his run as he was able to get around Catilla, that he was able to get there. So I'm keeping my eye on the 3 of Sharp to make moves. As you see right there, Gossett had pulled out to a little bit of a lead, but Nick, AJ Digby, he is closing in very, very slowly on that number 80 car.
Yeah, AJ Digby getting very close to your race leader, Tommy Gossett. The leaders are coming close together. Kyle Zimmer in 3rd, AJ Digby in 2nd, and then ultimately, once again, your race leader, Tommy Gossett, in 1st, leading the field. These cars will probably work together to get closer to Gossett, as they are pretty close together, getting closer and closer lap by lap.
So one thing we're going to have to keep an eye on, folks, we're already 10 laps into this race here tonight. We got to think about how long they can go on fuel. They only have about 42 or so % of a fuel tank, which means that they're probably going to end up pitting around lap number 28, maybe lap 30. That's about what we saw last week at Atlanta Motor Speedway, as we still have Kyle Zimmer trying to get around AJ Digby. This time Digby's washed up a little bit through turn number 3 and 4. I think this is going to be the best run out of Kyle Zimmer that we've seen so far. You see Digby using that high line to his advantage, getting all that momentum coming out of the corner. And folks, if you're new to iRacing, or if you're new to racing in general, really there's 2 mentalities. If you run right down there on the bottom, it's the shortest way around the racetrack. However, you have to crank the wheel quite a bit. It's a smaller radius, and in order to get the car to turn that smaller radius, you have to slow down a little bit more. So the high line, you can actually keep a little bit more speed, but it's a longer way around the racetrack. So it's kind of a mouse game type of thing. Do you want to run the low line? Do you want to run the high line? You got to figure it out. But now, the number 25 of Kyle Zimmer did get around AJ Digby. 25 passed him on the inside groove, so maybe that high line just not quite there yet. And Greg, we've seen this quite a bit, where that high line just not quite there early in the race. But as the race goes on, the high line just all of a sudden starts to appear.
And I'm expecting that here more than anything, because here, late in the going, the high line is most definitely the way to go. And we can start seeing it here. More and more drivers are starting to stick up a little bit higher as the run wears on. We saw that last night in the ASRS at Atlanta, drivers going higher more and more as the race went on. And not surprised that we're seeing it here at Homestead, because the high lane later on in the run, definitely the preferred lane around here. But kind of surprised, I'm up here watching the leaders and everybody stuck to the bottom in 3 and 4, whereas in turn 1 and 2, everyone was sticking high a little bit. And speaking of the leaders, Kyle Zimmer, he has not only cleared AJ Digby, he is reeling in Tommy Gossett in that 80 Oreos car.
Yeah, last time by, Kyle Zimmer just about half a tenth of a second faster than Tommy Gossett. Not a huge difference, but over the last 5 laps, Zimmer has been averaging faster lap times than Gossett by about that same amount. So Zimmer definitely reeling in, but to catch him is one thing, to pass him is another. Keeping an eye on the biggest movers of the race so far, Alan Capers and Kevin Cochran running in the 11th and 10th positions respectively. They are the biggest movers. There's the number 13 machine, and looks like Cochran trying to make a move on the number 98 of Chris Roberge. Roberge way up on the top side of the racetrack, getting up in the marbles. That far outside groove right up next to the wall just doesn't have much grip, unfortunately, and you can see that Cochran made that move on the 98 of Roberge. Capers sitting in 12th, Dingman now in 11th, so Dingman's up 5 spots from where he started. Kevin Cochran now +6. As I say that, he actually gets around Eddie Hawks, trying to make a move for the 8th position. That will move Cochran up 7 spots from where he started, and he's turning some pretty respectable lap times as the battle for the race lead is still hotting up, Greg.
Yeah, Zimmer is making the inside lane work, which earlier on in this race, we were seeing him being the one trying to get the outside lane to work. He may have a shot here as Gossett kind of went low there. No, Zimmer with the crossover, now crosses back over. Nick, if you're Kyle Zimmer, are you wanting to break in that outside lane because you know it's going to be coming in quicker, or do you want to stick with what works for now to try to get around the 80 of Gossett?
Well, honestly, if I was Zimmer, I would actually be doing exactly what Zimmer is still doing at this moment, just riding behind him, and then make a move whenever he sees that he can, not just abusing the high line right away.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure get to see that line as it comes in throughout this race. Got to give a shout out to some of the people that we have here in the chat. We got Major EFAW saying go Cochran, number 80. Good news for Cochran. He's +7 spots in this race. Nicky Warsler rooting on Tanner Sharp, AJ Digby, Nate Catilla, and Fernando Matos, the Will Warsler Racing Team. Nicky always in the chat here. Matt Brown also rooting on the Will Warsler Racing teammates in the chat. How you guys doing tonight? Make sure you make yourself heard, and we will definitely give you a shout out as this race continues on. It's awesome to see you in the chat. Here's the number 48, Mark Dingman, back there running with Alan Capers. This is a battle for the 10th position, currently held by Dingman. You see Capers running just a little bit lower on the racetrack, and right in front of them is the number 45 of Eddie Hawks, and they are catching Eddie Hawks, especially Mark Dingman. Dingman actually has some very respectable lap times out there right now. There's the number 3 of Tanner Sharp, and guys, Tanner Sharp, he got to the back bumper of AJ Digby, but all of a sudden seems like he's dropping off. So Nick, do you think that he might have just burned off his tires a little bit?
I mean, that's what I'd be thinking right now. Maybe just off the tires a little bit, as there is now a gap between the third place car of AJ Digby and then, of course, your leaders in first and second. So, yeah, maybe burn the tires off a little bit. But he'll probably get back up there. Seen it before, especially at Homestead on Monday.
Absolutely. Well, the laps are winding down here just a little bit as we get ever closer to the pit stops that are inevitably in about 5 to 10 laps here. Somewhere in that window, you see the number 3 machine, Tanner Sharp, trying to find some grip up there on the high side. And you see Eddie Hawks back here in the number 45. He's actually been passed by Mark Dingman. And now side-by-side battle here. This is for what I believe is the 10th position. Alan Capers getting underneath the 45 of Eddie Hawks and taking that spot. So move Capers up to 10th. Eddie Hawks has now slid back to 11th, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Ooh, some good racing back behind them as Kevin Paskowicz and Tanner Sharp here starting to do battle. Greg, it's starting to get a little bit racy as these tires start to wear out.
It really is, because we talked about the fuel run for race here being about 28 laps. That's not necessarily the tires' lifeline, but we're seeing it that the longer this race goes, caution-free. And we actually have our first taker coming on pit road. Didn't catch the number, but right as I was watching, we were pulling in. There you see him right there. So, Peter, our first taker on pit road.
Yeah, Nate Catilla in the number 4 machine on pit road as we speak. And He's going to go down at 50 miles an hour to find his Will Worsler Racing pit crew. There they are. He's gotten his pit box nice and neatly. So far, no other takers that I can see. Just Nate Catilla for now. Oh, Tanner Sharp, number 3 machine, Will Worsler Racing. He is on pit road. That National Guard machine, very late peel down to pit road, 50 miles an hour as he works his way towards his crew. This might be a little bit early. Oh, we got Fernando Matos in the number 11 machine coming in. Or 17 machine, excuse me. There he is, just slowly working his way towards his pit box. But looks like the Will Worsler Racing teammates kind of on the same strategy. Oh, the number 9 Tim Masters clipped the wall on the back stretch just a little bit. And Masters able to corral his car. Now we got the 14 machine, AJ Digby on pit road, 27 of Paskowich on pit road, Kevin Cochran, Billy Wise, Eddie Hawks, all joining the pit road crew as they all get into his pit box. Paramount that these drivers get onto pit road nice and
neat. Oh,
look at, and as I say that, I was going to say it's paramount you get onto pit road nice and neatly, but that number 80 was coming in hot. Tommy Gossett in the Oreo machine. There's a little bit of confusion up there in the ticker. It's showing him on the ticker as number 8. He actually has number 80 on that car. It's just a matter of the paint schemes that are on these machines here tonight. But we'll call him the number 80. That's the number on his car. That's the one that you can see on the stream here tonight. And that man right there, the number 13 of Alan Capers, currently your race leader. Doug McCollum also staying out in the racetrack right now. Chris Burge, Tom Johnson, Thomas Wise, Brand Lowhead, all yet to pit. And look at that speed differential between cars with tires and cars without tires. There's Chris Burge looking out back. You see Tom Johnson in the DeWalt machine right there. All of a sudden, that huge speed differential in full effect here as these cars are now slightly different strategies out there. And Nicholas, we've seen this before here on 3Y TV, and sometimes it can cause a little bit of chaos for the drivers, both on the old tires and the new tires.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to get interesting once these new tire racers mix with the old tires. It's just going to get all jumbled up here. What can we see here? Not completely sure. Time will tell once we see these guys out on the track running with drivers with some old tires. But of course, everyone's probably going to be coming for new tires eventually, and of course more fuel.
So of course the thoughts are if you make it to lap number 30, then you could presumably only make it on 3 stops versus the drivers who pitted on lap number 25. They have to pit 4 times. Now they will have, you know, the advantage of having fresher tires. Here comes Alan Capers killing the cone. And he hit the pit wall opening. Oh, right back up in front of Tom Johnson. What a avoidance by the number 57 machine. But I think Chris Burge actually might have got into the back of the 57 trying to avoid that mess. You see, right there. Just got into the back of him, locked the brakes, couldn't get the number 98 woed up in time. So that will be damage on the front end of the 98, as well as the 57's rear end. Looks like Roberge has elected to use a fast repair after all that scuffle. Tom Johnson, however, he's going to go back out there on the racetrack with a damaged rear end. We'll have to see whether or not that causes any issues out there. But currently your race leader after this is all cycled through is right there. AJ Digby in the number 14 machine will assume the race lead. He pitted 1 lap earlier than Tommy Gossett and Kyle Zimmer. I think both the number 80 machine and the 25, both of them kind of got caught up behind the number 99 of Johnny Berardi on the pit road exit road, and that I think cost them some time. So that's allowed Digby to pole vault himself up to the race lead. So right now Will Worsler Racing got the number 14 machine, Tanner Sharp sitting in 4th. A couple of cars inside the top 5 for Will Worsler Racing at this point, but Greg, it's still early in the going. There's still a long way to go, and certainly we didn't have a car making it to lap number 30, so it looks like all these drivers will have to make 4 separate stops here tonight.
And Peter, speaking of those last few cars that came in, I'm sure that Alan Capers and Tom Johnson and Chris Roberge, they are happy that that happened on pit entry when they were coming in to change off those tires anyway, because if that had happened just after changing those tires and with Johnson having to lock it up and Roberge running in the back of him and of course Capers with the spin, I'm sure they would not have been happy campers with the fact that their brand new tires have been scuffed up. So definitely a little bit of a sigh of relief that it was the fact that, hey, it's still early, and a quick caution, which as we know can happen anytime in racing, these guys could be right back in it. So it's not a death sentence what happened there on pit road. It just makes it a little bit more difficult for the time being, but still plenty of time, plenty of chances on pit road to get some time back.
Yeah, we actually have 4 cars currently being scored 1 lap. Eddie Hawks in the number 45 machine sitting 16th. Brian Lowhead 17th, Johnny Berardi 18th, and Thomas Wise. So we have 15 cars on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap would be the number 13 of Alan Capers. He's about probably a eighth of a lap from going 1 lap down to the number 14 machine of AJ Digby. There is Digby holding about a second race lead over Tommy Gossett. That lead is shrinking. Last time by, Tommy Gossett about 2.5 tenths of a second faster than Digby. Digby has slightly older tires by just 1 lap. And Nicholas, man, that single lap on those Goodyear Eagles, it is showing up here. Digby just quite a bit slower than Tommy Gossett, all things considered.
Yeah, you can definitely tell with new Goodyear Eagle tires that are on these cars after pit stops. Definitely showing a change on how fast you are, of course. Leaders getting closer, new leaders getting soon. Of course, we've had the same top 3 around pretty much the whole race. But with new tires, you're going to see a lot of new action, and especially with future pit stops, excuse me.
Yeah, currently fastest car on the racetrack is Tommy Gossett in that Oreo Ford Mustang, closing in on AJ Digby, averaging about 0.2 of a second faster than the number 14 machine over the last few laps. Kyle Zimmer also very, very quick, almost matching Tommy Gossett's time as well. There's Nate Catilla a little bit further back in the pack in the number 4 machine. He's racing around the number 66 of Brian Lowhead. Here we got side-by-side battle. These are the last 2 cars on the lead lap. The number 13 of Alan Capers. Remember, Capers had that half spin getting to pit road. And the number 57, Tom Johnson, he's got a lot of rear end damage from contact with
lead.
Chris Roberge. Oh! AJ Digby relinquishing the race lead to Tommy Gossett here going through turn number 1 and 2. That, folks, that didn't take all too long for Tommy Gossett to get back to the race lead, Greg.
Yeah, I was watching him reel him in just ever so slowly, just reeling him in 0.2 of a second this lap, 0.2 of a second this lap, and when he finally got there, it didn't take much. He just went to the inside and made it work. So, Peter, that goes back to a conversation we had earlier before those pit stops. Right now, it seems like the inside lane still is the preferred lane. How long do you think before the outside lane really starts coming in and really becomes the preferred lane around here?
I've been keeping an eye on the track temperature. When we started the race, it was 98 degrees Fahrenheit. Now it has dropped 3 degrees down to 95. So with a track temperature that low, the high line might never come in. Usually the high line comes in when it's a little bit looser. You see a side-by-side battle now for the second position. It does look like Kyle Zimmer will get back to that spot. Ooh, got a little bit tight on entry, got really close to AJ Digby, but you can see Zimmer still holding to that inside groove. Digby going to hold on for now, but that is allowing the number 80 machine of Tommy Gossett to scoot off into the sunset up front. He will now have about a 1 second lead this time by when they get to the stripe. Zimmer still trying to make that move. Now right up behind AJ Digby, almost pushing the number 14 down the front straightaway. Side by side here in turn number 1. Zimmer down there right on the white line, going to wash up. Plenty of room for Zimmer to move up the racetrack here coming out of the corner. Almost cleared Digby. Digby's coming back at him. They're still going to be side by side going off into turn number 3, although Zimmer waits to break the number 25 machine into the corner. He's going to pull the old slide job right up in front of AJ Digby, and Zimmer now will move up into second. But all that battling has allowed Tommy Gossett to scoot away to a 1.4 second race lead over the 25 machine of Kyle Zimmer. And Nicholas, that is probably just what Tommy Gossett wanted to see.
Yeah, Tommy Gossett, your pole sitter who started off first here, having a huge gap between second and third. I'm sure Kyle Zimmer and AJ Digby will be working together here to eventually get by Tommy Gossett and be able to run with him. And of course, battle for the lead, probably between these three drivers once it comes down to it.
Still a lot of stops left in this one. In fact, speaking of pit stops, we're only probably about 10 laps away from these cars back on pit road. Nate Catilla a little bit sooner than that. The number 4 machine probably going to be on pit road here in about 5 or 6 laps time. He was the first car to come down pit road during the first cycle of green flag pit stops. But good news here tonight, folks. We're green through the first 43 laps.
Well, don't jinx it, Peter, because we all know what happened. Because I'm saying that how many times over the years with commentators curse when we start talking about a race going caution-free. Hopefully that's not the case, because this has been a pretty fun race for the most part with these guys sticking to it. There's a few battles. There you see one a little bit deeper in the pack coming off of turn 2 right now. But guys, I'm honestly kind of impressed that these guys have been able to keep it so tight together. You're watching the 32 of Billy Wise and the 80 of Kevin Cochran. These guys have done a good job, and noticing there, both Wise and Cochran, they both kind of went up to the high line as opposed to some of the other guys in this one. So, Nick, what are you seeing as far as like transitioning goes with the rest of the field with drivers gradually making their way up higher and then back lower? What are you seeing with these guys?
Well, I mean, I've been seeing most of the same thing here with the moving with the track transitioning on, staying up on the high side mainly, and then coming down low.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm seeing out right now. Tommy Gossett. In fact, if you go out there and you look what this man's doing right here, let's see if we can go on board with the Oreo machine through turn number 1. Just watch his line here. He's going to go all the way down just to the dark line right there. You see there's a single line that kind of delineates the lighter portion of the racetrack, the very innermost groove. Well, Tommy's running a lane above that, which he does it here in turn number 3 and 4 as well. Just flirts with the seam right there, one lane up. And he's getting a lot of grip running that groove, late apexing the corners, trying to let those Goodyear Eagles breathe so he doesn't wear them out too soon. We do have a car on pit road. It is the number 4 machine of Nate Catilla. We said that he was the first car to come down last time. He has done so again. He has come down now twice here in the opening 48 laps or so. He's going to head back out there onto the racetrack and hopefully make good use out of the 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. There's the number 14 of AJ Digby. He's still in the 3rd position, 3 seconds behind the race leader. But Tanner Sharp is now... Oh, Tanner Sharp on pit road. As I say that, the number 3 National Guard machine, Kevin Paskowich, in the number 27. I think that's the number 80 of Cochran coming down pit road. It is. So all of a sudden starting to see the second round of pit stops here at Homestead-Miami there, Nicholas.
Yes, for sure, and we're going to have the second round here, and from what it's looking like with these guys pitting a little bit earlier than our estimated pit stop time through laps, probably going to see about 4 pit stops throughout this race, so we're halfway through with pit stops, Peter.
Yeah, that's the good news. If you've made it on pit road twice without any incidents, well, you're doing a good job, because this is, like I said earlier, a very tricky pit road to get onto. I know these drivers have been really upping the amount of practice they do get into pit road because of the smaller fuel tanks There is the number 25 of Kyle Zimmer. I know he's done plenty. Oh, race leader on pit road as I say that. Tommy Gossett in the Oreo Mobile coming down 50 miles an hour down towards his pit crew. 25 of Kyle Zimmer and AJ Digby both stayed out on the racing circuit. There's Fernando Matos, who's come off pit road. Max Calder in the chat saying, go 17 machine. Of course, always rooting on Fernando. And Tommy Gossett in his pit box right now. Got in the pit box nice and smooth. That will help with the pit stop time. We'll see who else is on pit road. 13 of Alan Capers there at the top of your screen. Mark Digman in the 48, bottom of the screen. And here comes AJ Digby, the number 14. Will Warsaw Racing Machine is going to hit the pit road. But Kyle Zimmer in the number 25 here still staying out. Interesting to see this, guys. I'm very surprised to see Zimmer still out there turning laps. Brick, what do you think Zimmer's thinking right now?
I was honestly very surprised as well, because if you remember back to the first cycle, Zimmer and Gossett pitted on the same lap. But this one, Zimmer has put already 2 extra laps on, and it looks like he's coming in now. Yes, he is. So race leader Kyle Zimmer stayed out 2 extra laps as opposed to Tommy Gossett. Maybe Zimmer was thinking, hey, if I can stay out a little bit longer, a couple extra laps. We saw what difference a couple of laps of tire wear made when they were tracking down AJ Digby. Maybe Zimmer's saying, hey, if I can stay out for a couple extra laps, I might be able to make something happen with Gossett, because my tires won't be as used up here in about 10, 15 laps or so.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We see the number 33 machine, Doug McCollum, on pit road right now. He was actually the biggest mover at the end of this green flag run. He moved all the way up inside the top 10 after pretty much almost starting shotgun here tonight. There you see the number 98, Christopher Roberge, still out there right now, the number 80 of Cochran. Now, Roberge, if he gets a really, really, really lucky yellow flag, he might be able to only make it on 3 stops. Not quite sure if that's in the back of his head or not, but we're closing in on the halfway distance here in tonight's 120 lap race, 180 miles around the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Your current race leader in this cycle of pit stops is the number 98 of Chris Roberge. Tim Masters currently sits second, Tom Johnson third, and the first car on 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles, Tommy Gossett in the Oreo Ford Mustang, is sitting in the 4th position. There you see a gaggle of cars. The number 9 of Tim Masters, Tom Johnson, that's 2nd and 3rd. You see the 48 machine, Mark Dingman, sitting down in 14th, trying to get around these two, trying to get himself back on the lead lap. He's currently 1 lap down because of the pit cycle. Chris Roberge, couple cars in front of him. But guys, we're closing in on the halfway mark, and Greg, any drivers here tonight really catching your eye? Any drivers out there really impressing you as we get close to the halfway mark?
Well, of course, I gotta be extremely surprised, and not so much surprised, but just very impressed with the 80 of Gossett, who almost ran into the back of, I believe, the 9 of Tim Masters right there. He's been dominating this race. Set fast time, has led far and away the most laps. As a matter of fact, I think the only time he wasn't out front was during pit cycles, and I believe he has worked his way back into the 2nd spot now, just behind Roberge. But he has been impressing me. Also, a guy we haven't talked about a whole lot because he was fast at the initial start, but something happened near the end of the first run, and he lost a lot of ground and hasn't really made it up yet. But Tanner Sharp has been having a very nice, quiet race. Currently sitting in the 4th spot. He'll be 3rd. Well, maybe, as he's fending off Kyle Zimmer right now. And remember, Zimmer is on fresher tires than he is. It was about 5 laps difference, the stops between Sharp and Zimmer. We're seeing that right now as Zimmer goes to the inside of Sharp. But I've been impressed with Sharp, just kind of having a nice, clean race, minding his P's and Q's, and making it work, Peter.
Yeah, he has. Now, what I'm really serious about, Kyle Zimmer, he pitted 2 laps after Tommy Gossett, as Gossett is going to get around Chris Roberge, who has come down pit road and resume the race lead. But Kyle Zimmer, 2 laps, fresher tires than Tommy Gossett, but he now finds himself about 6 full seconds behind the number 8 machine, Tom Johnson, in the 57, the only car yet to pit under this pit cycle. He is right in front of Kyle Zimmer as they work their way through turn number 3 and 4. Looks like that number 57 machine might be coming down this time. It's been 29 laps since we last saw the 57 on pit road. There he goes, running on fumes in that DeWalt Toyota Camry. Gonna hit the pit box almost to the halfway distance here in tonight's race. About a lap and a half short. Your race leader once again, the number 80 machine of Tommy Gossett. Kyle Zimmer sits second, 6 seconds back. Tanner Sharp in third, also about 6 seconds back. AJ Digby sits fourth, 9 seconds behind your race leader. Kevin Paskowicz in fifth, 13.7 seconds back. Nate Catilla sits sixth. And the number 4 machine, good run for Catilla. Remember, he's kind of on a slightly different strategy. He's pitting as soon as the pit road window opens. He's currently just a little bit ahead of a couple of the other cars out there. Tom Johnson just now coming off pit road. Billy Weiss sits in the 7th position now. Kevin Cochran in 8th. Doug McCollum 9th currently. Fernando Matos, however, in the number 17 machine, he's currently being scored, folks, 1 lap down. That's, I'm sure, not exactly what Fernando wanted to see. Keeping an eye on whether or not Fernando might have had issues getting to pit road. I believe he did. He had about a 5 to 6 second longer pit stop than most of the other cars out there on the racetrack right now. So I think either he was getting some damage fixed, maybe overshot his pit box or something like that. But that is unfortunate news for Fernando Matos, finding himself 1 lap down in the 14th position as they run. But Nicholas, we've now gotten past the halfway distance. The race is clean and green so far. Do you think we're going to stay clean and green for the remainder of this one?
Well, Peter, I think that, I honestly don't think that it'd be all the way green. I want to see a little bit of action here, at least towards the end. Of course, it's nice to stay green, but I'm expecting maybe some aggressive action being put into place maybe near the end of this race tonight.
Well, that's pretty much what we saw last week at Atlanta for that race. But there is the number 9 machine, Tim Masters, and there is Fernando Matos doing battle with the number 57. Remember, that 57 just came off of pit road. That is a battle for the 14th position. So Tom Johnson going to take that spot. Number 4 of Nate Catilla is 1 lap ahead of these cars doing battle around the racetrack right now. Good job by the 57 machine of Tom Johnson to get that spot. But what Tom has to do is he's got to run as hard as he can here, because that number 57 machine is about, 1.5 laps down. He's on the freshest tires. He should be able to turn the fastest laps out there on the racetrack. He's got to do that. He's got to back that up lap after lap after lap as to not lose any more distance to the race leaders. Riding on board with the number 14 machine, AJ Digby, as he closes in on the back bumper of Tanner Sharp. Greg, it looks like Digby here going to make that move off in turn number 1.
Yeah, Digby, I believe, was in front of Sharp before the pit stop cycled, so something must have happened to Digby on pit road, because he came out, cycled behind Sharp, and I don't think it was just because of the amount of tire wear. Digby was pretty far back when we saw that battle going on with Zimmer. We just saw this little red dot in the back. That was Digby, and he's making his way back up, and looks like he's bringing Chris Roberge with him. However, albeit Roberge is, of course, a lap down, as opposed to Digby, who just moved into the 3rd position. But Digby, his car is just as strong as the likes of Zimmer and Gossett, so I think if we get a caution, we may not have seen the last of AJ Digby. However, if this thing stays green, they've got a tall task in order to go up there and try to beat Gossett and Zimmer. If this race stays green, I think you're going to see someone short pit to maybe try to get an advantage.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. We're once again have to talk about pit road, because pit road will probably be lit up here in about 10 laps or so with this small fuel tank. There is the number 3 of Tanner Sharp running now in the 4th position. Kevin Paskowicz running in 5th is about 8 seconds back. And one thing I was just looking at while you were mentioning things, Greg, was the pit lane times out of these drivers during their last pit sequence. Tommy Gossett had the fastest pit lane time, 37.4 seconds. Tanner Sharp, second fastest, 38 flat. AJ Digby, on the other hand, had one of the slowest, 39.6. So he lost 1.6 seconds on pit road to Tanner Sharp. Kyle Zimmer in second, he lost about a second or so to Tommy Gossett on pit lane. So that has helped Gossett pull away to a 5.25 second lead. Zimmer's been closing in just a little bit. Remember, he's got slightly fresher tires on the number 25 BW Designs Ford Mustang, but still at about 5.25 seconds back. It's a long haul to get up towards your race leader as we're working lap number 69 of 120 here tonight. There is Billy Wise, the Magical Butter Machine. Billy's running in the 7th position. Kind of a quiet night from Billy Wise so far, but sometimes a quiet night is a good night. And so far, running just 2 spots outside of the top 5, Nicholas. Good run here for Billy.
Yeah, I've been actually taking a look at Billy Wise most of tonight, just taking a look at him. Been seeing him just sitting like in between packs and may even have a good run on some others here. But as you can see, in the middle of the pack, I guess you could say pack in front of him and drivers behind him, just sitting there in the middle, maybe looking to get a run on the ones in front of him.
Yeah, in fact, remember the car in front of him running into 6th right now, Nate Catilla, in the number 4 car. He was the first car on pit road, so he's got older tires than all of these cars out there on the racetrack right now. And over the last few laps, Nate Catilla has been about a tenth slower than Billy Wise, so Billy Wise slowly closing in on the back bumper of the number 4 machine. But we do have a car on pit road, as I say that, the number 27 machine, Kevin Paskowicz, is coming down in the Hooters machine, the Alan Kulwicki throwback, with 50 laps to go. This is really the pit window has opened now with only one more pit stop from here. So that, I think, is what Paskowicz is thinking. Try and use some of those 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles to possibly make some ground up on your front few cars. He's just running inside the top 5. Got to give a shout out to Jennifer Henley saying, my man, number 13. Of course, the number 13 is driven by Alan Capers, running in the 11th position right now. Hopefully, he can get back on the lead lap. He's being scored in 11th, 1 lap down. There's number 33 of Doug McCollum. He's running in 7th right now after the pit stop made by Kevin Paskowicz. He's actually also running right with Billy Wise. That is the 6th place car right in front of him. So this is a battle for position right now. And Doug McCollum actually has about 3 lap fresher tires than Billy Wise. So McCollum has that in his back pocket. We'll have to see whether or not McCollum can get around. We have another car headed down pit road. That's Nate Catilla. He's one of the early takers as always. And Tanner Sharp, your 4th place machine, down pit road. So folks, we're starting to see pit road open up a little bit earlier than what we have seen. Now that the pit window is open, Greg, do you think this is a good call?
I was wondering if we were going to start seeing this Digby coming in, the 3rd place car coming in, and that will leave the top 2, Gossett and Zimmer, all by themselves as the rest of them begin to cycle their way through. But I'm not surprised to see this. I thought that we would start seeing someone maybe pit a little bit sooner and try to catch the leaders off guard and make up some ground with those fresher tires. I've been watching the 25 of Zimmer also. He's not settling into a single line. He's hunting different lines to try to figure a way out and catch up to Gossett, but it's not working for him. Gossett's pulling away. He has put half a second on Zimmer the last 15 laps. Or not the last 15 laps, the last 3 or 4 laps. I don't know where I got 15 from, but Peter, Nick, remember, Zimmer has 2 lap fresher tires than Gossett, and Gossett's pulling away from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Tommy Gossett laying down a whooping here tonight. In fact, the number 80 machine is on pit road right now. Tommy Gossett coming down 50 miles an hour. Going to head to his pit crew, 45 laps to go. And there he is, Billy Wise in the number 32 machine also coming down pit road. And ooh, that number 80 went a little bit long in this box, but iRacing scores him inside the box, so that crew will go to work. There is Your new race leader, the number 25 machine, Kyle Zimmer, will he peel down this time? Yes, he will. Gets on the brakes, slows down to 55 miles an hour right at the cones. Good job by Zimmer to be nice and neat getting to pit road. Doug McCollum in the number 33, however, he overshot his pit box a little bit. It's paramount to get into your pit box nice and neatly if you are going to make some passes. And we got a car in the outside wall. Brian Lowhead in the number 66 bouncing off the outside wall. Folks, this might bring out a caution. And Brian Lowhead having trouble, I think his... Oh, we got a car in the inside grass. Johnny, big contact there. The number 9, Tim Masters, and the 66 is off the racetrack. Masters smoking, we're still green. Can you believe this, folks? I think something broke on the number 66 machine. He was just banging off the outside wall. Tim Masters nowhere to go, but into the back bumper. We're still green. Masters smoking around the racetrack, putting oil down, but the iRacing officials saying no big deal. He's still out there on the racetrack. This is surprising. Still no yellow as we run. Still green. I think probably the officials are wanting this pit road cycle to sort itself out automatically. Here comes Nate Catilla, the number 4 machine, closing in on the number 9. There he goes around him, still green. And I gotta say, man, that's just luck for Brian Lowhead. He was running pretty decently here tonight, down around the 18th position or so, but it's been a pretty quiet night from Lowhead in the Mountain Dew Voltage Chevy. I can't help but think that was some type of mechanical failure of some sort. So tough break for him. There's the number 3 machine, Tanner Sharp, as the number 9 machine, Tim Masters, has made it back to pit road. I think he was trying to get a caution, folks, just unable to do so. But Greg, I think this will just about sort things out for this pit cycle.
I believe so, and I'm with you. I'm very, very surprised that a caution did not come out for that incident. And I'm still kind of like just watching this all unfold because we check back in with the leader, Tommy Gossett. He's in heavy traffic right now, trying to get around the 80, or the other 80, I should say, of Kevin Cochran. That black and green 80 is the number 80 on the ticker, of course. Like we mentioned earlier, Gossett number 8 on the ticker, but both those cars running number 80 tonight. That's Gossett in the blue Oreo 80 doing a big crossover. Wow, what a move by him to get around Fernando Matos. And Gossett, that was really the first time he had to deal with heavy lap traffic like that. No problem whatsoever for him. Chris Roberge, 98, still running in second, about 4.5 seconds back. And Kyle Zimmer will be third. So, Peter, much like last time, we're seeing Roberge stay out there longer. And I believe Zimmer just made the pass for second. So, just like the last one, we're seeing Roberge kind of be the last man standing for pit road.
Yeah, absolutely. Roberge still turning laps out there. I'm sure he wanted to see that caution flag get flown, but no caution flag was thrown. And boy, oh boy, Chris Roberge in the 3rd position right now. AJ Digby closing in on him pretty rapidly. In fact, Roberge now down in 4th position. He just got passed by Tanner Sharp as well. Sharp, he pit a little bit earlier. He's got 9 laps on his Goodyear tires. Compare that to Kyle Zimmer, who only has 5 full laps on them. AJ Digby behind Tanner Sharp. Digby actually only has 1 lap fresher tires than Tanner, but Tanner pole vaulted him with about 0.8 of a second faster time on pit road. So not quite sure if the pit crew was just a little bit slow on AJ Digby's crew or whatnot, but Digby now finds himself about 1.8 seconds behind Tanner Sharp, who is now in 3rd position here. Good battle here down the back stretch. McCollum in the 33, the 32 there of Billy Wise. This is a battle for what would be the lucky dog spot. Billy Wise in 9th, Doug McCollum in 10th. And Nicholas, how important is it for these drivers to get to the lucky dog position?
Yeah, well, once you get the lucky dog, that would definitely be a great thing for these drivers, as being the lucky dog would be just great, as you'd be on the lead lap, knowing that you do have a shot to win this race still.
Yeah, we'll see whether or not a caution flag does fly. We're down to only 7 more laps to go, so we're under 60 miles left in tonight's race. And there you see the Epilepsy Sucks number 33 machine doing battle. Nate Catilla in the number 4 Legendary Wolf Gaines Chevy Camaro is the last car on the lead lap right now, 27.8 seconds behind your race leader, Tommy Gossett. The good news for Nate is he's on the lead lap. The bad news is the next car he can see in his rear view mirror, although it's a pretty small dot, is your race leader, Tommy Gossett, who has pulled away from Billy Wise, Doug McCollum, Eddie Hawks, that group of cars. Been kind of a quiet night for Eddie Hawks in the number 45 machine, running down in 14th. Kind of expected him to possibly be a little bit more up towards the front, but I think he's one of those short track guys and doesn't like the bigger tracks quite all too much, but I'm sure we'll see Eddie Hawks up near the front multiple times this season. But Greg, 35 laps to go. Oh, got Roberge on pit road, and Greg, he's the last one really to come down pit road. Not quite able to make it from here with this stop, but definitely he was banking on a caution there, Greg.
Yeah, Roberge is playing the long game here, and he's hoping to catch a caution. And the way the racing has gone, other than that incident with the 66 and the 9, there hasn't really been a whole lot to discuss in that regard. We're starting to see a little bit of a battle beginning to brew between Digby and Sharp, as Digby is faster than Sharp. He's closing in. They're still 0.8 of a second apart right now for the third spot, but given a couple of laps, I think Digby will be up there to Sharp as we continue to watch Tommy Gossett just laying it to the field here tonight. But Peter Nick, battle is beginning to brew for the third spot, and this has kind of been two guys who have been around each other the whole race tonight, Digby and Sharp. They've been bouncing back and forth, third and fourth positions all afternoon, and we're getting ready to see it again here in a couple laps as Tommy Gossett continues to pull away, 5.8 seconds up on Kyle Zimmer. That last time by, let's see what it is this time. It's gained another 0.2 seconds. Here comes third place and fourth place. Sharp in the blue 3, Digby the red 14. Guys, this battle is about to heat up here in a couple of seconds.
Yeah, AJ Digby is slowly but surely moving in on Tanner Sharp over the last 5 laps, about 2.5 tenths per lap that Digby has been clawing out of that number 3 machine. So right now, just under 3/4 of a second, I should say, behind that number 3 National Guard machine is that man right there, the Zulu Motorsports number 14 machine. Will Wursler Racing teammates Tanner Sharp and AJ Digby. Do want to make note that unfortunately the number 66 of Brian Lowhead has taken his Mountain Dew Voltage machine behind the wall and to the garage. Not quite sure if he'll be able to get back out there before this is all said and done. But right now, riding on board with AJ Digby as he closes in on the number 3 machine. Last time by, not as much of a difference as it has been. AJ Digby might be starting to get into that aerodynamic effect that we mentioned earlier. The number 3 machine punching a hole in the wall and taking away the air back behind that car. So Digby just doesn't have as much air pressure on the nose to provide the forces needed to add grip. The downforce, if you're familiar with that term, is, we got a car coming down pit road. It's Fernando Matos, Will Wursler Racing number 17 on pit road. Got 3 wide TV on the hood of that machine. I'm sure he will be coming down. Now, this is about as early as you can come in. 29 laps to go. We've seen drivers make it 29 laps out there on the racetrack here so far. So, folks, the pit road is now open for the final pit stop of the night. Matos will get a fast repair done on that car, and I'm expecting to see a couple of these drivers hit the pit lane in the next 3 or 4 laps. What are your thoughts, Nick?
Yeah, well, we're going to be seeing some pit stops coming up here, as you mentioned, Greg, in just a few laps. And I do apologize. I cannot see my screen right now. It did just turn green. But from what I was seeing, Nate Catilla is being chased down by your leader, Tommy Gossett, who looks like is going to lap him. And I'm sure Nate Catilla does not want that. Gonna give it to you, Peter, as I cannot see. My screen is completely green.
Uh-oh. Well, that is no bueno. Well, hopefully you can get that all sorted out. There is the number 80 machine, your race leader. One of the 80 machines, the number 80, of Tommy Gossett. I'm sure he'll come down pit road here. If I'm Tommy Gossett, man, I'm probably going to bring it down pit road first of all of these cars. Ooh, kind of scraped the outside wall just a smidgen there coming down the front stretch. Actually gave himself a little bit of right front damage. Maybe he was checking his tires, making sure that they're going to change him here, but he's underneath the number 4 of Nakatilla. Maybe a little bit of a distraction led to that contact with the outside wall. Looks like we do have a car on pit road right now. It's the number 3 machine, Tanner Sharp. The Will Wursel racing car. Looks like the number 99 of Johnny Berardi trying to come down pit road. Oh, Tommy Gossett, a little bit of a nudge there on the number 99. He has a lot of ground to give up, luckily, but he lost a lot of that ground. We'll have to see Zimmer on pit road. As I say that, I was going to see if I could see the difference between the number 25 and the number 8, but Zimmer is going to get down pit road first before Tommy Gossett, as we now only have 25 laps to go. Greg, I think Zimmer made a good call here, although it looked like maybe Gossett was trying to get to pit road when that happened.
He might have been, and I so because he's pulling in now. So Gossett may have been trying to pull in, and this may be a blessing in disguise for Zimmer in a weird way that Gossett had to stay out there an extra lap and got some damage. Gossett, of course, does have those fast repairs in place, but it's all going to come down to who's quicker on pit road, and if Zimmer can get a good enough run. He hasn't. No one's had anything for Tommy Gossett this evening here at Homestead-Miami, and it's going to be a tough challenge for anybody, but Zimmer may have caught a break there with Gossett having those issues. And Peter, not just having the issues there unfold, also, if you have something like that happen, it can really start affecting you mentally, and you try to focus too much on not making a mistake again, and that could lead you to make another mistake. So I'm curious how Gossett's going to be able to react to not one, but two just very, very slight mistakes in about half a lap or so.
Yeah, Tommy Gossett has rejoined the racetrack right now. Now, the good news for Gossett is he still has about half a straightaway on Kyle Zimmer in the number 25 machine. Pretty big gap between those two, actually, still. Looking at the live timing and scoring, it's about 4 seconds between Tommy Gossett and Kyle Zimmer right now. There's the number 33, Doug McCollum, down there on the inside of the racetrack in the Epilepsy Sucks machine. And see, we got a 3-wide TV replay here of, I believe, that number 33. Let's see what happened here. Going through turn number 3 and 4. Let's see what happens now. Hey, well, looks like he tried to get to pit road, missed it, blew it, and he had to go around another lap, and that is what I was saying a little bit earlier. Getting to pit road is very difficult. He still can't get to pit road because he had the number 25 machine, Kyle Zimmer, going around him really, really quick. Kind of caught him off guard. I'll have to see whether or not Doug can make it down pit road this time. Doug's had a good race, been putting a good one together in that number 33 machine, solidly inside the top 10, kind of quietly creeped up into the top 10 after starting near the rear of the field. We'll see if he can get to pit road this time, working his way through turn number 3 and 4. There's AJ Digby, who got around the number 3 of Tanner Sharp. Can confirm Doug McCollum on pit road this time, so that's good news for him. But AJ Digby, he is actually still out there on the racetrack at the number 14 machine, so he has yet to come down, make his final pit stop. The number 3 machine of Tanner Sharp will unlap himself because Digby is your race leader. Tanner Sharp now back from the lead lap. Tanner currently being scored in the 5th position. Mark Digman also yet to pit in the Sim Motorsports Chevy Camaro. He is in the 4th position, and Nick, once again, starting to see some little bit different strategies here. Oh, boy, the 14 and the 20. Oh, my goodness.
Contact to the 17 and 4, not 4, my bad there. But yes, contact there as well. Caution is out.
My goodness, and AJ Digby was trying to get to pit road, and I don't think Eddie Hawks saw that he was trying to get to pit road. I'm sure he was waving all the way down the backstretch, but the 45 was just a little bit too far back to see that. Heavy contact, and I was going to say AJ Digby here, probably hoping for a caution, but I'm sure he didn't want to be part of the caution, Nick.
Yeah, you said it there, and it looks like we have, I believe that is the 17, smoking from behind as he's going down, as he ran right into the back of, I believe, I couldn't see who it was. Um, wasn't AJ Digby, but the other one involved, and that was the 45 there.
Yeah, Eddie Hawks and the 45 machine involved in that one. Tough break for them, but the caution flag has been thrown. This is the first caution flag if you're just now joining us here on 3 Wide TV. My oh my, it's been a great race so far. We do have Savannah Morris in the chat. I'm sure she's rooting on AJ Digby, but Digby now has a lot of rear end damage. Hopefully he has fast repairs left for this one. It'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out. Everyone on pit road right now, including the number 14 of Digby, and I think Digby's actually going to benefit from this, believe it or not, because he's the race leader. He's going to use a fast repair and more damage on that number 14. He's going to pull away here. So I think AJ Digby will be scored your race leader. There's Tommy Gossett. Mark Dingman in the number 48. He's going to be thrilled with this too because he was playing the long game. He'll be back on the lead lap up there in the top 5. You see the number 25 rolling. I thought it was Kyle Zimmer actually that got into the back of the number 14 machine, but it was actually the 45 of Eddie Hawks down in 16th position. There's Digby, who out of this whole mess will get the race lead. That's a little bit of fortuitous luck there, Greg.
Yeah, from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs, just like that. Digby probably was thinking his night was over after getting hit from behind, just trying to get on the pit road. And it turns out he's in good shape and he's still going to be the leader. And Peter, Nick, this changes everything like we've seen time and time again because now we're inside of 20 laps to go. We got a new face up front. It's been Tommy Gossett pretty much the whole way. Now AJ Digby has the lead once the green or the yellow cycles its way through. Not sure where Kyle Zimmer is going. Peter, let's see if we can catch up with the number 14 of AJ Digby.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can grab him in here for a quick interview.
And I didn't see any.
And AJ Digby, we got you with a hot mic, buddy. Welcome to the 3 Wide TV booth. Hey, man, you're playing the long game. I'm sure you were hoping for a caution, but I'm sure you didn't want to be part of the caution. But a little bit of fortuitous luck. You're the race leader, but you have a very, very fast number 8 machine behind you. How are you going to pull off a victory here tonight?
Just gonna try to run this thing as fast as we can. Been trying to learn and change lines all day and to find speed, and I think we found a little bit. I don't know if it's gonna be anywhere enough. I was hoping to stay out and get a caution. We had one on the backstretch that somehow a caution wasn't thrown. We had people airborne, so I had to slow dodge that. But yeah, I didn't want to cause anything at the end there. As you probably heard when I cut in, I didn't even know anybody was close behind me, and then we decided to pit that lap, so I was trying to slam on the brakes and get down to the bottom to pit and just got hit in the back. So I should have been a little bit more aware, but we also kind of made a late decision to pit. Yeah, so just was hoping to stay out for a caution. This ended up working out in our favor, but not at all the way we envisioned. So just going to try to run this thing as hard as we can. Who knows what will happen here. There's not many people left on the lead lap, but also some really fast race cars up here. So we'll see what we got in the short run here.
Yeah, a couple cars took the wave around there. We're up to 11 cars back on the lead lap, but AJ, pace car lights are off. I'll let you get back to it. Best of luck.
Thank you, Peter.
All right, well, that is the number 14 machine of AJ Digby, and going back up there to Kevin Vollmer, as well as Gordon Digby, spotting here tonight for AJ Digby. But why don't we see if we can listen in to possibly, for this restart, Nate Catilla and Wayne Lowe. Wayne Lowe, the spotter of Nate Catilla. No, never mind. We're pulling it audible. We're going to go on board with Tanner Sharp.
Oh, car high. Still at your door. Still at your door, you're pulling. Clear all the way around. You're wide up front. Car coming up on you, getting a run. Hold it low. Still clear.
Playtime.
There you go. Yeah. Car high. Set your door. Set your door. You're dead even. He's gonna have a little bit of a run because it's the draft. He can't go anywhere. He's still gonna be high. Just about got him clear. You do got him clear. He's gonna have a run. Protect low. He's going low.
Oh my, you rode on board with Tanner Sharp as he worked his way up into the third position. However, AJ Digby, his Will Worsler Racing teammate, is here comes Kyle Zimmer to the inside of Tanner Sharp here on the front stretch. Just going to say AJ Digby lost the lead to Tommy Gossett, who asserts himself as the race leader once again. But now Tanner Sharp almost losing out to Kyle Zimmer. They're side by side halfway down the back stretch. But that was some awesome spotting there by Will Worsler in the Will Worsler Racing channel. Oh boy, here comes Mark Dingman to the high side of Kyle Zimmer. So Zimmer trying to run that inside groove. Where did Mark Dingman come from? He's starting to move his way through the pack here, trying to get racy for the fourth position. And Greg, Mark Dingman been quiet all night, got a caution, 11 laps to go, and here he comes in the number 48 machine.
He may be the big benefactor in all this. It's 16th, currently in 5th, trying to get around Kyle Zimmer, who's been one of the top two guys all day for the 4th spot. Dingman catching the lucky break, like I said earlier. Him and Digby, they were the ones playing the long game. It worked out for him. And here he is looking to try to get a top 5 in the Jimmy Johnson-inspired 48 car, as he's still battling right now with Zimmer, as we are on board with race leader Tommy Gossett in the number 80 Oreo car, looking back at AJ Digby. And what a recovery for AJ Digby after getting hit from behind trying to get on pit road. It brought out the caution. He was able to use a fast repair, get himself back in position, and he is right here contending for the win in that number 14 car in the closing stages. We're inside of 10 laps to go, and Nick, Digby is not going away from Gossett. As a matter of fact, he is staying right up there with the number 8 of Tommy Gossett, something Zimmer was not able to do in the majority of the race. Digby's able to stick with him, so maybe Digby's got something for Gossett here at the end.
Yeah, Greg, as you mentioned, Digby staying very close to Tommy Gossett, and I do want to take a look back here on Monday during the B-Car Series. Now, I do refer back to the B-Car Series quite a bit, but it's kind of looking like a repeat of Monday. Tommy Gossett and AJ Digby were first and second, except it was the other way around. Digby was leading, and then all of a sudden, Tommy Gossett, within the last couple final laps, just took the lead away. Could we maybe see that tonight, Peter? Maybe AJ Digby just getting a huge run on Gossett and coming home with a win.
Little bit of role reversal right up at the front. AJ Digby still trying to close in. Gotta say, the way Tommy Gossett has handled himself in that Oreo machine here tonight has been superb. He's running the right line around the racetrack. Has a lot of grip out of those Goodyear tires. And he's got all that clean air on the nose as well. This package that they have on the Cup cars, because they are now running the Cup cars here in the SimPossible Racing League, it really lends itself to clean air being king. It's going to be very, very difficult for Digby to make this move just because of how important the clean air is for Tommy Gossett. Here is Kyle Zimmer, however, we rode on board with him briefly. He got a run on the number 3 machine of Tanner Sharp. Zimmer been the second place car most of the night, now shuffled back just a little bit after that restart. But Zimmer trying to move his way up towards the front. Fastest car on the racetrack last time by the number 13 of Alan Capers. Back there in the 12th position. That's where he's being scored right now. In fact, we're starting to see the leaders catch up to a couple of the cars, including Alan Capers. Capers currently turning some pretty good lap times in the Next Level Racing number 13 machine. Currently out front of your leaders. I'm trying to see when Alan Capers last pitted. He pitted with only 5 laps ago, so pretty interesting to see that. Got to give a shout out to John Jenkins from the American Sim Racing Series. How's it going there, John? Watched the broadcast from last night back. It's always great to get a little bit of feedback from the drivers. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast last night. Hopefully you can enjoy these last 4 laps, because we do have this great battle up at the front for the win. Battle for second as well. A little bit further back, Christopher Burge and Billy Wise doing battle, not for position. Billy Wise last car on the lead lap, but boy, oh boy, laps winding down, Greg. And as for now, Tommy Gossett out front, 0.2 of a second, and then this battle, and Kyle Zimmer all over the back bumper of Tanner Sharp.
Yeah, 2-car tango right now, if you will, for the first and second and the third and fourth spots going on, and it even kind of looks like it was Zimmer poking high, but great battles going on back and forth. But Gossett had a really good run through 1 and 2 there as we're in the final sprint to the finish here. Gossett got a really good run off of turn number 2, but here comes Digby back to the inside. Peter, there comes to the white flag. Digby's going to have one more shot to try to get a run. Actually, no, I'm sorry, 2 laps to go.
Oh.
But
Kyle Zimmer, sorry to interrupt there, Greg, but Kyle Zimmer in the number 25 BW Designs machine just got the outside wall coming out of turn number 4. Threw up quite a few sparks. Here we go on the 3-wide TV replay, and boom, there's the wall, throwing up quite a few sparks. Couldn't quite see them from that angle, but that might just thwart Kyle Zimmer's attempt to catch Tanner Sharp for the 3rd position, but my oh my, Nick, we're on the final lap. White flag in the air.
Yep, and AJ Digby, Tommy Gossett, that's the main 2 that I'm looking at. I'm coming into turns 1 and 2 for the final time here, more than likely. And I do want to say that if Tommy Gossett gets this win tonight, it'll be pretty cool, as he would be having a Monday-Wednesday sweep here at Homestead, as he did win in the Monday night B-Car series.
Tommy Gossett out of turn number 4. The Oreo machine going to dive it down to the inside of the racetrack, takes the checkered flag, and goes back-to-back here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway, sweeping the week here for the SimPossible Racing League. AJ Digby coming home 2nd, Tanner Sharp 3rd, Kyle Zimmer coming home in 4th. Mark Dingman, good run for him, finishing 5th. And oh man, we got the number 17 machine sliding it down on the front stretch. Going to bring that machine home in the 13th position, as that flag man looking a little bit unenthused at the end of this race, but that man right there will be very much enthusiastic as he burns him down here on the front stretch here in just a few seconds, coming to a halt here at Homestead-Miami before lighting up the rear tires. There we go. Around and around, throwing up lots of smoke up into the fans that are out here, the virtual fans here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Tommy Gossett as the number 33 Doug McCollum, so running around out there on the race circuit. But Tommy Gossett getting a win here in the SimPossible Racing League Cup Series. Ooh, gotta make sure you keep that car legal there, Tommy. Keep it off the walls. But guys, all in all, fantastic race. Only 1 caution. I mean, that just speaks volumes for these drivers here tonight, as Tommy's going to go around in the published victory lap up there by the wall, make sure he gets as much tire buildup on those tires so that when that car rolls across the scales, it'll be nice and heavy and legal. But Greg, all in all, fantastic race here tonight. What are your thoughts?
great race, very dominating performance by Tommy Gossett, but I was very impressed with how AJ Digby was able to recover from that incident and be right up there in the mix with it. But there's nothing I can take away from the performance that we saw out of this number 80 Oreos car. Tommy Gossett put on a clinic tonight in that number 80 Ford Mustang, and he's got to be very excited getting himself a Cup Series win here at Homestead.
Absolutely. I can't wait to get to Victory Lane and find out just what Oreo is Tommy Gossett's favorite flavor. There are a ton of them, and hopefully Tommy Gossett has tried quite a few of them. But we're going to step away here for just a brief moment on 3YTV, line up some interviews for you, and we'll be back with your top 3 finishers here tonight.
the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Homestead-Miami Speedway, where this race has just wrapped up the 120-lap event. Only one caution flag here tonight, but we do have the interviews for your top 3 lined up for you here tonight, and I believe that Greg Rentz will catch up with Tanner Sharp.
Yeah, Tanner Sharp runs through YTV. You got a copy.
Yep. Yes, I do.
Well, maybe we've lost Greg Rentz up here in the booth. Greg, you got a copy?
I'm not hearing Tanner, guys.
Oh. That's strange. Well, Tanner is here. Go
All right,
ahead,
well, I'll take Tanner Sharp here for you, Greg. So, Tanner Sharp, you did place 3rd, and so at least you got a podium. What do you think that you could have done better, or do you think that your car just had it, but you just weren't there?
Get my head out of my butt and try to learn this track a little better under this package. So, yeah, we played a tight condition with this car all night, and it wasn't to my liking at all. It was just trying to find the right line and when to get back into gas and all that. And sometimes you can get a little too greedy if you do it too early. That's why we're pushing tight off the corner. So, played around with that all race long. And crew chief Will Warsaw had a awesome pit strategy to where I lost all that time. He made that time up back for me. So, and then that caution came out, and then we were just kind of like, all right, we're in this mix. We got to like kick in the butt here and do something despite our conditions. So, and that's what we did. And hate racing Kyle like that, man, but we were trying to go for a podium position. And he knows it's going to be a tough year on both of our ends as far as run for a championship. So, yeah, Homestead, one of my favorite tracks with this progressive banking and understanding where the line is on this racetrack and whether it's high. You know, it just depends upon where your car's handling. So, sort of glad this race is done, but glad to come out with a podium finish.
All right, well, how do you feel about racing at the new configuration, newly paved Texas Motor Speedway next week?
Yeah, I haven't got a chance to turn any kind of laps there. I've seen it. I've seen the track and all that, but I haven't turned any laps there. So it's going to be very interesting next week to be at the repaved Texas. I don't know how I'm going to feel about turn 1 and 2 with the downsize of the degrees of banking from 24 to 20 degrees of banking. So that's going to be very interesting. We're just going to have to practice, and when that practice comes around, and AJ and I shared information about Homestead here tonight. So AJ and I were really working together on stuff on the lines and all that, and we went out during practice earlier tonight. So I'm pretty sure we're going to do the same thing. We need to get our other teammates involved as well, Fernando and Nate, so we can share that information a little bit. And AJ did a good job. That one caution saved him here tonight. So Texas is going to be a very interesting race for all of us. And let's see who goes victory lane first tonight at the reconfigured and repaved Texas.
All right, well, before we let you go here out from this interview here, do you have any shout-outs that you would like to give anyone here?
Yeah, my crew chief and owner, Will Worsler, for the calls that he made tonight for pit stop strategies. That was all him here tonight. So great job on Will's part. AJ Digby, man, he helped me out a little bit in practice here, just getting the right line and all that. So. But he was still better. He was still better and faster. So, and AJ's gonna be faster every week. He's got some people cheering for him here in the chat. I haven't even read anything of it, but I know he has somebody cheering for him every single week. So that's awesome right there. And teammates too. I mean, teammates out there on the racetrack, didn't see too much of them tonight. Jeff Schmidt putting on the SimPossible Racing League for these guys to come out and run. National Guard sponsorship here tonight. My local Humane Society, Mountain Dew, 3Y TV for you guys. The broadcast all these races has been awesome. So and thanks for everybody in the chat for chatting it up tonight. If you are chatting it up, I heard there's a bunch of people chatting it up. So that's a good thing. So we'll catch everybody at Texas next week and see what we can do.
All right, well, we're going to let you go. Congratulations on a third-place finish, Tanner.
Yep, thank you.
All right, well, that was the number 3 machine, third place finisher Tanner Sharp. I believe Nicholas has also caught up with his teammate, Will Worcester Racing driver AJ Digby.
All right, AJ Digby, 3Y TV booth here. Do you got a copy?
Yep.
All right, great to hear. So it was kind of a repeat of Monday, coming home in second, close to a win. What do you think that you could have done better to possibly get around the fast number 80 Tommy Gossett?
I don't know if there was much more that could have been done other than just spending hours more practicing over the week. I had a really fast race car and the fastest lap, I think, of the race, or one of the fastest laps of the race, and had speed. Just didn't quite have it on the long run, and the cooler track changed up my line a lot different from what I was practicing. So just some stuff of adjusting to track state that I could have done a little bit better, improved on to help me out throughout the race, but not really much more I could have done in the race. I wanted to protect the outside when I got the lead, but I feel like that might have been the wrong call. Might have just wanted to run my line because I couldn't hold the outside properly with somebody underneath me for some reason. So, but all in all, it was a pretty good race. Ended up with a lot of good points moving forward. Had a lot of wins earlier, so I'm sitting really good in a points position and where I want to be. And yeah, it was overall a pretty good race. Can't be upset about it. Pretty glad.
All right, well, that's good to hear. Before I let you go here, do you have any shout-outs that you would like to give?
Yeah, well, my dad, Gordon, and my cousin Kevin were both in my ear tonight in the spotting booth and the crew chief department. So thanks to them for helping me out all race. Not much to spot as it was a lot of single file, but a lot of calculations and things going on in there, and a lot of help for me to gain a little bit more speed over the course of the race. So huge thanks to them. Thanks to everybody who was in the chat cheering us on. And yeah, just thanks to all the other drivers. Jeff for running the league, and you guys for the broadcast, as always.
All right, well, great to hear. Congratulations on a second place finish. Well, that was AJ Digby. I'm going to give it over to Peter, who I believe is going to be interviewing your winner, Tommy Gossett.
I have made my way down to victory lane and am with tonight's winner, Tommy Gossett. And Tommy, you led 91 laps here tonight to absolutely put a drubbing on the field. But I got to say, buddy, you found your way around this place, getting the win 2 nights ago, Monday night for the B-Car Series, now backing that up here tonight. What is it with you and Homestead-Miami Speedway? Well, maybe we can dial him up one more time. Tommy Gossett, Peter Short here in the 3OI TV booth. Copy? Well, folks, we might have to see if we can call an audible here again. It won't be the first time here tonight. And see if we can talk to Jeff Schmidt, possibly in lieu of Tommy Gossett. Hey, Jeff Schmidt, Peter Short from the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Peter. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm sure you're just now finishing up some donuts there, it looks like. But, man, good race here tonight. Only one caution, and it was a spectacular show all the way to the end with Tommy Gossett getting the victory. What are your thoughts about tonight's event?
Yeah, congrats to Tommy for sweeping the week here at Homestead. Tonight was an amazing race. You know, with the long green flag that we had, it speaks volumes of the talents of these guys and what they're capable of. You know, nothing that we didn't think that they were already. You know, nothing surprising, to be honest. But it's just awesome to see that these guys put on a heck of a show. They are amazing at what they do. They're very talented. It was a good show.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a fantastic show for all of us here on 3Wide TV and all the people that we had joining us in the chat. We had quite a few people in the chat here tonight, which is always awesome to see. But tell us a little bit about what the SimPossible Racing League is doing and where it's going currently.
Yeah, we're slowly growing. We're in our third year. You could call it our third year. We started late 2018. Of course, this league was created for and dedicated to drivers with a disability that run iRacing. And, it's strictly for them to have somewhere to run, to not be judged, to just have a good time. And, in turn, it became extremely competitive. And, there's no difference from this compared to any other league that you see out there or any other racing, whether it be professional in real life or simulation. These guys are getting it done, man. And I'm extremely proud of everyone. It's been a heck of a ride.
Absolutely. It's been great to be a part of it, and the growth that has come about. 19 cars took the field here tonight, which is absolutely awesome to see. I know, Jeff, you probably thought 19 cars, that's going to be crazy if we get that amount of drivers, but they've turned up, and they really enjoy running this place. A very understanding group of drivers, and great to really see that no one really gets up in anyone's face or anything like that on a weekly basis.
No, and you know what? That is really what separates us most from kind of any other league or any other racing platform really out there is every single one of these guys are here to help each other, and that makes a huge difference, man. I mean, anything that they can do to help a fellow competitor, we'll do it. And it's so awesome to see the brotherhood and everyone, create this group to just be there for each other, no matter the circumstance, whether it be something going on in real life or in the racing. It doesn't matter. Like we're all here for each other, and it shows. I mean, everyone's continually getting better and better at what they're doing, and we're just having a lot of fun doing it, man. So it's been awesome. It's been inspiring, and I just can't thank everyone enough for tuning in to watch and support these guys.
Absolutely, it is a great group. Before we let you go, you got any additional shout-outs for us?
Yeah, just for the drivers themselves to grab life by the horns, and to instead of giving up and being on the pity potty, so to speak, to go out and do this, to make something happen, and to show how talented they really are. Big props to the drivers for, jumping over the boundaries that they thought they might have had and realizing, this is possible to do, and we're going to do it. Not only are we going to do it, but we're going to be the best at it. It's one thing to do something, but to be good at it too, and to put the effort into it, that's really what sets us apart from a lot of other groups and things. Got to thank the drivers' families for helping them out. There's a lot of support out there in the families and the family members of the drivers to help them, either prepare for the races or during the races, to help them in, day-to-day activities even. So thank you so much to the families. Got to thank everyone that tunes in to watch the races. We love the support, everyone in the chat room. It's so awesome to see everyone, communicating and chatting with each other, rooting these drivers on. And really just everyone else that's ever helped us along our way. This is not going anywhere anytime soon. We're going to be racing for many, many years to come. So it's only going to get bigger and better. And I'm excited to see the growth of this thing, man. And thank you guys so much in the booth. What a fantastic job you guys do. Greg, Nicholas, Peter tonight, amazing commentary. Carlos always for manning the cameras and running the show here. You guys are awesome.
Well, thanks very much, Jeff. We appreciate it, and can't wait for next week at Texas Motor Speedway, where these boys will hit the newly repaved track. But I do believe Tommy Gossett has made his way to the checkered flag, so Jeff, or to the victory lane, I should say. So, Jeff, we'll be talking to you soon. Best of luck there, bud.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
All right. Well, I have finally caught up with, I believe I've caught up with him. The race winner, Tommy Gossett. Tommy, how's it going there, bud?
Oh, pretty good. Hey, sorry I was gone. I had to make an emergency run to the porta potty. Too much water while I was racing.
Well, hopefully the porta potty has some TP left. I've heard there's quite a bit of shortages around everywhere. But I'll tell you what, buddy. You got the win here tonight. You swept the week. What is it with you and this racetrack that kind of work together to be so fast?
I always had an affinity for Homestead in particular, and really all mile and a half. There's just something about Homestead that really clicks with me. 1 and 2 is like a normal mile and a half corner, but just something about the radius of 3 and 4 and how you get in and get off. It just really plays to my driving style and my advantages.
You know, in the pre-race, I mentioned that to the people watching, that for whatever it is about this racetrack, turn 1 and 2 race completely different than turn number 3 and 4. I mean, the way that the car is so line dependent coming out of turn number 4 here in the iRacing Simulator is kind of very unique. You have to run the correct line where there's grip. But hey, speaking of line dependence, I've heard that the Texas Motor Speedway, the newly repaved Texas Motor Speedway, which is where we go next week, very line dependent racetrack. Have you been able to race on the new Texas yet?
Practice. Yes, it's very line dependent, and my thoughts on that place are they need to fill it with pine tar, set it on fire, then use whatever toilet paper's left over to finish her off.
So pretty strong words about the Texas Motor Speedway. I gotta say, it's my home track, but I'm not too keen of it myself, at least racing it here in iRacing. Based on what you've seen, though, what are you expecting next week?
Freight train, choo-choo.
All right. Well,
and that goes with both cars, A and B. That track is so line dependent. Aero push, even though they reduced it on this A car, is going to be terrible. New Texas is just a terrible track. Old Texas is great. I love that track to death. Old Texas was my favorite track. This New Texas is just garbage.
Well, we'll have to see if iRacing addresses that. You know, you mentioned pine tar, which is kind of funny because they've been adding, you know, this substance to the racetrack to give it more grip. And I've kind of been wondering if iRacing is going to do something similar. You know, they could really vary up, almost build to build, the line dependence around these racetracks by adding a little bit of that sticky substance. And I'm just kind of curious whether or not that is going to go in the back of their heads to improve racing at tracks like Texas Motor Speedway. But you know what, man, you got your second win this week. Give us some shout-outs, because boy, oh boy, you've gotten to victory lane twice in a week.
First off, I got to thank God for being able to put me in the position to be able to do this. I got to thank my family for supporting me, because even though I have fun racing this league isn't my end goal just to be good here. I want to make it to Coke or Peak or whatever it is now. I want to be the best there is on the sim, and my family really stands behind me and helps me try to work for that goal. I also got to thank Jeff for putting on a great league. I got to thank you guys for putting on a great broadcast. And then I also got to thank Whiplash Media and Designs for the wonderful car that they painted me here tonight. It's a beautiful car.
I had to ask, I mentioned this as you were doing your burnouts, what is your favorite type of Oreo?
Oh, like me, double stuffed.
Right. Thumbs up there. I like double stuffed myself. Those are very, very good. Well, Tommy, we'll see you in 1 week time at the Texas Motor Speedway, but until then, best of luck.
Thank you.
All right. Well, there you heard it. Favorite Oreo type of your race winner, Tommy Gossett, here tonight. Double stuff. Good choice. Well, folks, we got the finishing order for you. That's about all we got left. And Greg, why don't you take away the final race results?
Yeah, I can do that. Coming home with the win tonight, Tommy Gossett in the number 80 Oreo Ford, with AJ Digby rallying to finish second. Tanner Sharp coming home third in the number 3, so P3 for number 3, with Kyle Zimmer. Mark Dingman coming home with the top 5 after playing it or rolling the dice on pit strategy. It worked out for him. He gets the top 5, with Chris Roberge, Kevin Cochran, Nate Catilla, Doug McCollum, and Billy Wise rounding out the top 10.
In the 11th position here tonight was the number 57 of Tom Johnson. Alan Capers coming home in 12th. Fernando Matos coming home 13th. Tim Masters 14th. Eddie Hawks 15th. Thomas Wise 16th. Johnny Baretti 17th. Kevin Paskowicz 18th. And the only retirement here tonight, the number 66 of Brian Lowhead, who appeared to have some type of mechanical failure on that number 66 machine. But, boy, oh boy, Nicholas, any final thoughts?
Wow, it was just a great race. A lot of hard racing that I saw for the majority of that race for sure. And I can't wait to see what these guys will do come time for Texas. Now, we did hear Tommy Gossett actually say that he wasn't really a big fan of the new Texas Motor Speedway, and I was hearing that from him on Monday as well during his post-race interview, of course, as him the winner. And some drivers may like it, some drivers may absolutely hate it. So we're going to find out, of course, come Monday and then eventually Wednesday for the Cup race. And now I'm going to ask you, Greg, final thoughts on this race for you.
I love this racetrack. It's one of my favorite tracks on the circuit, so I was very happy to be able to come here. And what a run by Tommy Gossett. And like he said, he's not looking forward to Texas, but Texas, another 1.5 mile, albeit entirely different. We're going to see an entirely different form of racing at Texas. But, man, what a great race for Tommy, and what a great show here tonight, guys.
Absolutely. Well, folks, that is just about gonna do it for us. Gotta give a thanks to our friends over at SimTV for the camera angles, as well as our friend Thomas Morris over at OCR TV for helping out with the graphics package. But for myself, Nicholas, Greg, and of course Mr. Carlos Acosta manning the cameras here tonight, we want to give each and every one of you a good night, and we'll see you next week, same time, same place, here on 3 Wide TV. See ya!